evening, Internet. Eric Arnold, the Big E, here in the Sports Barn. It is about 20 to midnight on Sunday night. I forget what day it is. I think it's the 24th of February. Shortly to be the 25th of February. We did not post a video Sunday, just didn't get to it. My apologies. It just didn't happen. I watched the Fury Wilder fight instead. That's what I was doing with my time. You know, enjoying myself rather than poring over statistics trying to come up with college basketball picks. So that's what we did rather than make a video for you. Quite the fight. I mean, one-sided. I guess it's leading up to the fight, not knowing much about either fighter. I'm thinking Wilder's gonna beat this guy. I mean, he's taking this seriously. He's stretching. He's getting into the moment. He's really, getting ready to rock and roll. And Tyson Fury is just clowning around, and I'm thinking, wow. I mean, this guy's he's a goofball. He's a showman. This is not a serious person. Well, that shows what I know. I mean, Tyson Fury just went out there and kicked his ass. I guess my thought on that was Wilder doesn't have much of a chin. I guess that as if anybody could, take a punch from a 6'9", 270-pound guy. But I just think back to the old days when I was young and the heavyweights were Foreman and Ali and Joe Frazier, Kenny Norton, these kind of guys, even Larry Holmes. I kind of almost think they would have fared better against Tyson Fury than Deontay Wilder did. Wilder, he got hit with one or two good punches and that was it. He was just out on his feet for the majority of the fight. Probably lucky they stopped it when they did, at least for his sake. He kept saying, I want to be carried out on my shield. Dude, just take the L. I mean, you weren't going to come back with any kind of miracle comeback. You're just going to get hurt. So, it was an entertaining fight. I'm not sorry we paid for it. So, that's that. What else happened this weekend? I noted that Better Call Saul is back. That's only the best show on TV. So I'm happy about that. I'm a big Saul fan. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's the spinoff of Breaking Bad, which follows the lawyer around, Saul Goodman. So big fan of that show. So here in the Sports Barn, what's been going on? We have 23 subscribers. Maybe we'll get some more. We're kind of in a little bit of a flux at the moment as far as picks go. It just can't seem to. I'm losing confidence in my model, and just not really. It's not like we have a bad record. I mean, we have almost 300 picks, 163 winners, 133 losers. That's 55%. I might just for fun go scouring around the internet tomorrow just so I can see if anybody has posted that kind of a record that gives out free picks. I mean, I've looked a couple times already and have not found that person. I have found pay services who post their picks the day after they have given out those picks to their clients. And yeah, some of those guys, their records are better, but they're not free. So I don't know how much they charge. Plus, do I believe that those are their picks? Sure, I guess. I haven't done any investigation. I don't know. But, let's compare apples to apples. I'm looking for somebody who's handing out free picks, who tracks his record, who has a record like that. So I'm going to look for that person. I'll tell you if I find him or not. That might give me a little more confidence to start throwing out some more picks. So let's talk some old business. I only had 6 picks for you Saturday. I mean, you know, I've had 50 some in some weekends, and now I'm just kind of losing my groove here, and I only had 6. So we did 3 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie. The way we've been going lately, that's a victory. We had Virginia, which again, I was almost certain that would be something that would make me unhappy, and it did. And it did. They were 3-point favorites at Pittsburgh. The number should have been lower. It wasn't. It was 3. As it turned out, that burned us because they won 59-56. Somehow this team, they were up like 10 points. 10, 11 points with like 5 minutes to go. And they came from ahead to just about lose the whole goddamn thing. You know, they just ridiculous, sloppy play that you'd almost just like, who are these guys? These are the national champions. They're playing like, I don't know, a MEAC team or something. It was ugly. And, you know, only, you know, 2 free throws at the end from a not good free throw shooter, a guy by the name of Braxton Key, whose father was Eric Key. Eric Key starred at Reading High School here in Berks County for a number of years, back around 1980. Well, at any rate, Braxton Key lucks in the first free throw. I think he said he shot 59%, and it looked it. And then he missed the second one badly, so we ended up with a tie. He made the second one, we would have won. Of course, we're lucky he made the first one. So that could have gone either way. We got a tie. Tulane, hey, wow, they won outright. Well, I saw some of that game. I was not impressed with Tulane, but, you know, they made some shots when it mattered, so bully for them. They get the win, they cover, get the win outright, cover to 7.5, good. We had Villanova. Villanova, once again, Jay Wright, every time we play with this guy, he backs us. I keep saying he's the best coach in the country, and he proves it every time we pick him. Another winner, 64-55. Then the model jumped up here. Said, Hartford, take Hartford. I had dozens of these kind of games, and I guess I picked this one just because I thought, this is the best of these model games. Well, there you go. Laying 3 points at Binghamton. They were never really in this game. They trailed the whole game, and then came up with the barely cover at the, or barely win the game at the end, but not enough to cover, so we lose. A home game. You know, we just smoke these home games when we play them. I think we're like 14-5 now in home games. Louisville, we had laid 9 against North Carolina, thinking that, you know, North Carolina's 10-16, and maybe they really are that bad. Well, Louisville is not a bad team. That's a good team, very good team. And they kicked their butts, 72-55, easily covering the 9, and another win there. And then lastly, Hawaii, another off-the-map model game. They were the 3.5-point favorites at Long Beach. They were never in it. They lost 60-64, never in it. So 3 wins, 2 losses, 1 tie, and that puts us up here at 163-133. So, you know, we're trying to figure out some things where we can maybe pump some more picks up on the board. We only got 2 here for Monday. You know, there's probably a good 15-20 games going, and we could only come up with 2 of them. So, I don't know. I'd rather not pick than pick losers. But, you know, it's not going to do to only come up with 10 games a week either. That's not going to cut it. So we're going to have to figure out something. I mean, ultimately here shortly, as every last person that's taken 3 seconds to watch these videos and think about them sees I always pick the road teams. Well, I guess we're going to be in trouble here in a minute because we got about another week, and then we're talking tournament time. First you got the conference tournaments, then you got the big tournament and the NIT and the little minor league tournaments. So you're talking a bunch of neutral sites, no more road teams. So I think my wife, I made comment to her about that, and she said, well, I guess then you'll have to think. I go, yeah, good. we're all screwed now. I'm going to have to think. Yeah, we're all screwed. Look out. So I don't know what we're going to do. We'll figure out something, I hope. Like I said, I'm going to go search the internet. You know, almost 300 picks, 55%. You know, maybe that is the model. I'm the model. I just make up my own shit, and I'm so damn good. I hit 55%. Maybe that's the model. I don't know. Oh, let's see. What else we got? Looking long-term here. Long-term, not tomorrow. I think we will have time to get some picks up for Tuesday. That's long-term, or short-term. Long-term, baseball has started, and we are going to play baseball. So the Big E's not going anywhere. You know, tell your friends, this isn't like a short-term thing. It's like, well, college basketball's almost over, and then this guy's, you know, he's too boring to just watch him talk about his dog or his cat or whatever. I don't have a dog. I don't know why I said that. But I have a cat. I have multiple cats. But anyway, we're going to pick baseball games. I mean, same drill. We're going to have baseball last all summer. So that's what we're going to do to entertain ourselves this summer. We're going to try and master baseball. It's another sport, much like college basketball, that I have not quite mastered this sport. Coming into the college basketball season, I had not had any kind of sustained success with college basketball. This is the best run I've ever had in college basketball. Maybe these videos will be the magic touch for baseball, just as they appear to have been for college basketball. So that is what we're looking ahead to. I'd probably get started on that, and I'd say that maybe the second, third week in April. We're going to take a couple weeks off just to reset, maybe take a break. I might even go somewhere with the wife, that sort of thing. We'll see how it goes. Well, there you go. So let's get to the two picks here. The two picks. We got Nebraska, 7-19, 132 Pomeroy. They're plus 14. Illinois, they're 17-9, 28. Illinois just coming off that big win at Penn State, which sunk us because we had Penn State. Well, I mean, this sure looks like a really good spot for Nebraska. Nebraska has done very well in these situations this year. They're catching usually double digits on the road. They've covered in these situations a number of times. I know we had them at Maryland. I think they were getting 17 at Maryland. They almost won the game. I mean, they lost by, I think, like 2 points. So, yeah, I think Illinois coming off that big Penn State win, which probably punched their ticket into the tournament. This is a good place for them to just kind of take a break. And we're thinking that Nebraska is going to muck it up and hang close and do what they do. So that's where we're thinking there. Oklahoma State, big win for them against the rival Oklahoma over the weekend. They're 14-13, 62 Pomeroy ranking. That's pretty good. They're at Fog Allen getting 15.5. Kansas 24-3. Pomeroy says they're the best team in the country, as do I. They came up big, I guess, over the weekend. I said, well, I think they're the best team in the country. And, well, they went out there and, at least for one day, proved it, beating Baylor. And then everybody else that's a contender lost. I'm not sure what that means at this juncture. I mean, just because you take a loss in the regular season doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad team or you're not as good as another team. Gonzaga got beat. They're always tough to gauge because they just don't play that top level competition until you get into the tournament. So, you know, you got to look back into November and December, and the teams often change a little bit. In other words, just because they beat, you know, I'm making this up, I don't remember who they played in the non-conference just because they beat Michigan State in November, does that mean that they can now take them in March? Well, maybe Michigan State might be a completely different team. So that's why it's always hard to gauge Gonzaga. San Diego State, that annoyed me because I was looking for that one, and I wasn't on it. I should have been. I've been saying that team's going to dump one, and they did. And they did it how I thought they would do it. They dumped it at home rather than on the road. I had this theory, that part of the model, that these teams, they focus harder when they're on the road, especially the good teams. The good teams, they figure they're going to get their best effort from whatever opponent they're playing in that team's building. So they're bringing their A game, I'm bringing my A game. I'm going to be ready for you guys. I'm a 10, 15-point favorite in my building. We'll goof around, and then if it's close, we'll kick it in when it matters and take it. We're not going to let you out of our building with a W, but we may not necessarily have to beat you by 30 either. So, does that theory hold water? Who knows? So, lately the model really doesn't hold water, so that theory could well be bullshit. But that's what we think there. So that's why we were kind of thinking San Diego State would go home, giant favorite, and some team would certainly cover against them. And as it turned out, UNLV beat them outright. So no more Indiana, 76 Indiana Hoosiers, safe again, last undefeated team. I'm trying to think who else lost. Somebody else significant lost. Oh, yeah, Baylor, of course. They lost to Kansas. So, right now Kansas stands alone. So, that being said, Kansas, best team in the country, of course, we are taking Oklahoma State. I kind of feel a little edgy about doing this just because Kansas historically is such a good home team, but 15 and a half points, that's a lot of points, and you're coming off this huge win at Baylor. I mean, I couldn't script a better place for Kansas to just take a break. And Oklahoma State is a live dog. 14 and 13, 62. That's not terrible. They just came off a nice win against Oklahoma. I think they've won, 3 out of their last 5. I just made that up. But they I know they've been playing pretty well lately. 15 and a half points? Yeah, we'll take a shot here. We'll take a shot that Kansas just kind of goofs around, and who knows? Self might even rest some players, As a bouquet, I mispronounced that, just like, I mispronounced a lot of names, but that he might, let that guy sit. A guy gets a foul, all right, take a break. We'll play you 20 minutes instead of 35, 40. All right, so we talked in a big circle. We've got only 2 picks. We've got Nebraska for 2 stars, Oklahoma State for 2 stars. Hey, at least they're on TV. They're not like off the road SWAC or MEAC games. We'll have something for you tomorrow. Hit the like button. Like I said, we're kind of in a little bit of a rut here. I'm hoping that we get, a big push as the tournament rolls around, and then that'll generate perhaps some more subscribers, some more views, as everybody's going to have their little office bracket, and maybe then the views will pick up because, hey, maybe I want to hear what this crazy person wearing the flannel shirt in a barn with this great 55% record giving out free advice. I want to hear what this guy has to say, or not. So we'll see what happens. All right, so there you have it. Eric Arnold signing off from me to you. Good night, good gambling.